While a three-way battle is unfolding among China, Russia, and the U.S., Greenland's leaders say it's not for sale. And as we mentioned, comments from the White House have drawn the ire of Danish officials. For more on all of this, we are joined by General Wesley Clark, former NATO Supreme Allied Commander Europe. General, it's always good to see you. Let's jump right into this because Greenland is rich in minerals that the U.S. certainly wants. Trump officials also saying it is a strategic military location. What threat specifically is Trump so concerned about that makes Greenland so important?
Well, both China and Russia consider themselves Arctic nations, and they want to exploit the resources up there. And maybe they're going to do military exercises in the ocean and so forth up there. But, there's always been a threat from the north. ICBMs would come over the Arctic and to strike the United States. There were submarines around that could launch ballistic missiles or cruise missiles at the United States. So this is not new in character, and it's always been a function of NATO responsibilities. Why aren't we using NATO for it? I don't understand.
You know, Danish leaders firing back at Trump, saying Greenland's not for sale. Vance did say that military force will not be used to acquire Greenland. Do you see a deal being made here, and what do you think that might look like?
I just don't know what to make of it, because if you think it's really essential for world peace, well, that's what we have NATO for. So NATO, Denmark's a member of NATO. Let's get a NATO exercise up there. Let's put a NATO base up there. Let's get NATO ships up there, and let's put NATO air patrols over it. Let's let the allies share some of this burden. They're happy to do that. You know, the Danes have been with us. They were with us in Bosnia. They were with us in Afghanistan. They had casualties in Afghanistan. When I was doing Allied force as NATO Supreme Allied Commander in the late 1990s, Denmark was helping. Look, Denmark has more than carried its weight in terms of NATO security, in my view. And I think if we ask them and work it through NATO, we'll get the security in Greenland we need.
I mean, bottom line, do you agree with Trump? Do you think the United States should control or acquire Greenland?
I don't think it's a matter of controlling it or acquiring it. I think you put it under the NATO defense umbrella. The United States is the leader of NATO. The United States can organize it and do what it needs up there. We've got one base already. I'm sure the Danes wouldn't object to having other NATO bases up there. It's just a matter of how America leadership how our leadership pursues its concerns. You don't have to own something. I mean, the point of the alliance is to work together. We don't own Germany. We have bases in Germany. We have troops in Poland. We don't own Poland. So I don't think we need to. My personal view is Greenland is strategic. We need to pay attention to Greenland. We need to pay attention to the Arctic. But we've got an organization that'll help us do it and bear some of the costs. That's NATO.
Yeah, I understand. It sounds like you're a little flummoxed by the motivations here. Why do you think Trump is doing this?
You know, from the beginning, even back in the first Trump administration, we were interested in strategic minerals in Greenland, and I've been involved in discussions of this with businesses and other things. And actually, the first strategic mineral exploitation in Greenland on the west coast is Chinese. And there's a lesser deposit, but it was may have been radioactive in rare earths. And so this got everybody's attention. What's China doing coming in here, taking these minerals out of something that's, you know, like in our area? And so people got concerned, and I think it was a motivation for the strategic minerals. But honestly, work that through NATO. Look, we've got the Chinese out of the Panama Canal. Turns out we didn't have to invade Panama. And they'll leave Greenland if we ask them to. Now, we also want good relations with China. So we don't want to sort of bomb them out of Greenland or something. I think, you know, there's ways to handle this. And I know President Trump has some strong views on this. I respect those views. I think he's right to focus strategy on Greenland. But I think you can do it in a constructive way.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.